Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances of Lord Srila Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to this morning's class. This morning we'll be discussing from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 4, verses 36 through 41. And the chapter is entitled The Confidential Reasons for the Appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We're very happy to have Her Grace Mother Gita with us. Hare Krishna, Mother. Please accept my humble obeisances of Lord Srila Prabhupada. And it's all yours, Mother.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances, august to Srila Prabhupada. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaurav Hari Bol Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahams Parivrajacharya Stotarshad Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nant Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद जद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय मायापुर धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय गंगा माई की जय यमुना माई की जय तुलसी देवी की जय संवेद भक्त वृंद की जय निताय गौ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. Glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. Glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, Chapter 4, verse 36 and 37. Evancha yeche Krishna prakatya karana asura samhara anusanga prayojana mata chaitanya Krishna purna bhagavan yuga dharma pravartana nahetana kam. Thus, vancha desire, raiche, just as Krishna of Lord Krishna, prakatya for the manifestation, karana reason, asura samhara the killing of demons, anushanga secondary, prayojana reason, mata like this, Chaitanya as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna Lord Krishna, Purna full, Bhagavan the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yuga Dharma the religion of the age, Pravartana initiating, Nahe is not. Tandra of him, Kama, the desire. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Just as these desires are the fundamental reason for Krishna's appearance, whereas destroying the demons is only an incidental necessity, so for Sri Krishna Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, promulgating the dharma of the age is incidental. I'll read all the verses, and then we'll start the class. Verse number 38. Kona karane yabe haila avatare mana yuga dharma kala haila sakali milana. Translation. When the Lord desired to appear for another reason, the time for promulgating the religion of the age also arose. Text 39. Dui hetu avatari lana bhaktagana apane asvade prema nama sankirtana. Thus, with two intentions, the Lord appeared with his devotees and tasted the nectar of prema with the congregational chanting of the holy name. Text 40. Sei dware achandale kirtana sanchare nama prema malaganti parail samsare. Translation. Thus, he spread Kirtana even among the untouchables. He wove a wreath of the holy name and prema, with which he garlanded the entire material world. Text 41. Ei mata bhakta bhava kari angikara, apani achari bhakti kari la prachara. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this way, assuming the sentiment of a devotee, he preached devotional service while practicing it himself. Purport. When Rupa Goswami met Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Prayag or Allahabad, he offered his respectful obeisances by submitting that Lord Chaitanya was more magnanimous than any other avatar of Krishna because he was distributing love of Krishna. His mission was to enhance love of Godhead. In the human form of life, the highest achievement is to attain the platform of love of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya did not invent a system of religion, as people sometimes assume. Religious systems are meant to show the existence of God, who is then generally approached as the cosmic order supplier. But Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's transcendental mission is to distribute love of Godhead to everyone. Anyone who accepts God as the Supreme can take to the process of chanting Hare Krishna and become a lover of God. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya is the most magnanimous. This munificent broadcasting of devotional service is possible only for Krishna himself. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya is Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has taught the philosophy of surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who has surrendered to the Supreme can make further progress by learning to love him. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement propagated by Lord Chaitanya is especially meant for those who are cognizant of the presence of the Supreme Godhead, the ultimate controller of everything. His mission is to teach people how to dovetail themselves into engagements of transcendental loving service. He is Krishna, teaching his own service from the position of a devotee. The Lord's acceptance of the role of a devotee in the eternal form of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is another of Lord's wonderful features. A conditioned soul cannot reach the absolute personality of Godhead by his imperfect endeavor, and therefore it is wonderful that Lord Sri Krishna, in the form of Lord Gauranga, has made it easy for everyone to approach him. Swarup Damodar Goswami has described Lord Chaitanya as Krishna himself with the attitude of Radharani, or a combination of Radha and Krishna. The intention of Lord Chaitanya is to taste Krishna's sweetness in transcendental love. He does not care to think of himself as Krishna because he wants a position of Radharani. We should remember this. A class of so-called devotees called the Nadiya Nagaris or Gaura Nagaris pretend that they have the sentiment of gopis toward Lord Chaitanya, but they do not realize that he placed himself not as the enjoyer Krishna, but as the enjoyed, the devotee of Krishna. The concoctions of unauthorized persons pretending to be bona fide have not been accepted by Lord Chaitanya. Presentations such as those of the Gauranagaris are only disturbances to the sincere execution of the mission of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is undoubtedly Krishna himself, and he is always non-different from Srimati Radharani. But the emotion technically called Vipralamba Bhav, which the Lord adopted for confidential reasons, should not be disturbed in the name of service. A mundaner should not unnecessarily intrude into affairs of transcendence and thereby displease the Lord. One must always be on guard against this sort of devotional anomaly. A devotee is not meant to create disturbances to Krishna. As Srila Rupa Goswami has explained, devotional service is anukulyena, or favorable to Krishna. Acting unfavorably toward Krishna is not devotion. Kamsa was the enemy of Krishna. He always thought of Krishna, but he thought of him as an enemy. One should always avoid such unfavorable so-called service. Lord Chaitanya has accepted the role of Radharani, and we should support that position as Swarup Damodar did in the Gambhira, the room where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed in Puri. He always reminded Lord Chaitanya of Radha's feelings of separation as they are described in Srimad Bhagavatam, and Lord Chaitanya appreciated his assistance. But the Gauranagaris, who placed Lord Chaitanya in the position of enjoyer and themselves as his enjoyed, are not approved by Lord Chaitanya or by Lord Chaitanya's followers. Instead of being blessed, the foolish imitators are left completely apart. Their concoctions are against the principles of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The doctrine of transcendental enjoyment by Krishna cannot be mixed up with the doctrine of transcendental feeling of separation from Krishna in the role of Radha Rani. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmaitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So once again, I'll read text 41. In this way, assuming the sentiment of a devotee, he preached devotional service while practicing it himself. A lot of beautiful points in the purport by Srila Prabhupada. So here we see in these few verses that we heard today, the reasons why Krishna descends to the earthly planets. Krishna comes to perform his pastimes, to protect his devotees, to show mercy to his devotees. And killing demons or miscreants is by the way. We have read this even in the Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkritam. So first sadhuna, first his main priority is to protect his devotees. Establishing religion, killing miscreants is by the way. Similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his first reason for coming was to give devotional service, love of Krishna to all of us, congregational chanting. He also wanted to taste the nectar of love of Krishna. Promoting religion was by the way for him. You see, so there's a comparison between Krishna and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is quite similar. Why? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. It so happened that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu desired to appear on this earthly planet, it wasn't the reason, to promote religion, but it happened to be the same time when there was a need to promote religion. There was a need, but that was not the main reason for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to descend to the earthly planets. So as we read in one of the verses, it is mentioned that two intentions were fulfilled: tasting the nectar of Krishna Prema and spreading the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So the main purpose for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to descend was to give us the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Now, if he has appeared for such an important reason, then it behooves us to keep Hare Krishna Maha Mantra as very important in our lives. You see, he came as a devotee. He didn't come as the Lord, Supreme Lord, even though he's the Supreme Lord, but he appeared in the form of a devotee to teach us how to become a devotee of Krishna. Now, if chanting is so important, then it's important to understand the different stages of chanting. You see, there is Nam Aprad, Nam Abhas, and Shuddha Nam. Nam Aprad is the stage when one starts chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And because of insufficient knowledge or insufficient association, you may say, or guidance or training, the devotee chants with aparad, which means offenses. There are 10 offenses against chanting the holy names of the Lord. When you all have time, I'm sure most of you on Zoom are aware of the 10 offenses. But if we Google it, and put there 10 offenses towards chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we'll get the list. So we need to avoid those offenses. You see? To blaspheme the devotees, who have dedicated their lives to, those devotees who are chanting Hare Krishna, to blaspheme them, to find faults in them. So like that, there are 10 offenses, and the 11th offense is inattentive chanting. When we are not chanting attentively, then we are committing an offense, and that is called Nama Aparadha stage. Aparadha means offenses. So if we want to really purify our hearts, purify our senses, our mind, our intelligence, then we would need to go to the next higher stage, which is Nam Abhas, which is the clearing stage, where the devotee is sincerely endeavoring to chant attentively, sincerely endeavoring to be conscious of the 11 offenses, while chanting. It's a good idea to recite these offenses every morning, just to remind us that aparadh is a very dangerous thing, because it can pull us down in bhakti. It can bring us down when we are trying to progress on the spiritual path. So Namabhas is the clearing stage where we are sincerely trying to not commit any offense, at least while chanting. So when this clearing stage reaches its perfection, then it reaches the topmost stage of chanting, which is Shuddhanam. That means chanting in pure state of mind. That is Shuddhanam. So if we take on this process of Krishna consciousness seriously, not chant casually. Oh, because I've been told to chant, I have to chant. Have means I don't have a choice. But it should come to a stage where I want to chant. That is like going towards the stage of Shuddhanam, which is pure chanting. So chanting is of utmost importance. That's the basis of Krishna consciousness movement. It should be our life and soul. See? And as per Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions, it's the easiest process to go back to Godhead, easiest process to develop love of Krishna. You see? So while we are chanting the holy names of the Lord, as I mentioned, we should be conscious of not committing any offenses, but very important offenses, Vaishnava Aparadh. Offending devotees of Krishna, Vaishnavas, who are dedicating their lives towards, bhakti yoga, towards Krishna prema. So that Vaishnava aparad. Now one may say, who is a Vaishnava? How do we recognize? Anyone who's chanting Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada says, is a Vaishnava. So even mentally, we should not offend a Vaishnava, not even think ill of a Vaishnava, which means in the mind, say, oh, thinking in my mind, oh, such and such devotee is so and so and so, or whatever, thinking ill of a devotee. That is a very dangerous position. Excuse me. Very dangerous. Why? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Vaishnava Aparad is like a mad elephant who enters into our garden of bhakti, of our devotion, and smashes all the flowers and the plants and everything. That means smashes our bhakti garden. That is what happens when there is Vaishnava Aparad. So chanting the holy names of the Lord is very, very important. If you remember, Srila Prabhupada started ISKCON, started the Krishna consciousness movement just by chanting under a tree. In New York, he was sitting under a tree and he was just chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Why? Because he also knows that chanting is the easiest process to attain Krishna prema. Excuse me. Now, one of the verses mentioned, I'm sorry, that chanting was spread by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu even to the untouchables. Now, untouchables is something, the caste system and all that, I guess was prevalent before. I'm not sure if it's still prevalent. But the idea is to understand that the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not discriminate that I will give free of love of Krishna to this one and not to that one, to everybody. And in one of the verses, it's beautifully explained that the whole world was garlanded with the holy name and love of Krishna. A wreath, a garland. That was the main purpose of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming down. He, of course, assumed the sentiment of a devotee to teach us how should a devotee behave, what should a devotee do, what should a devotee not do. So to set an example of an ideal devotee, he assumed the sentiment of a devotee and he preached devotional service while practicing it himself. That's very important. Practice before we preach. Then it's going to be effective, not otherwise. Like they say, example is better than precept. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wanted to show us an example how to be a devotee. And it is mentioned even in the Bhagavad Gita that people like to follow examples. And Krishna is telling Arjuna that, whatever great men do, the common men follow. So here we can see that if we practice before we preach, then it becomes an effective formula for spreading Krishna consciousness. Now, in the last verse that we read, 41, in the purport, excuse me, Srila Prabhupada talks about Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami says that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is most magnanimous. While offering food to the Lord, we chant a prayer, Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. Krishna Chaitanya Namini Gautvishe Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya. That, oh, what is the translation of this verse? Oh, munificent incarnation, You are Krishna himself appearing as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So you see, we have a reference that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is non-different from Krishna. He is Krishna himself. You have assumed the golden color of Srimati Radharani and you're widely distributing pure love of Krishna. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. So Rupa Goswami is telling us very directly that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is most magnanimous. He gave love of Krishna for free. He did not, demand like Krishna in 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman Parityagya, only when you surrender unto me, I will do this, this, and this. Here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not demand anything. He freely gave love of Krishna, right? Prema Pumartho Mahan. Ultimate goal of life is Krishna Prema. And that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did. To give, to distribute love of Krishna to everyone. You see? And in one of the points in the purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about religious principles, you see? Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavad pranitam. That the real religious principles are enacted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not invent a new religion when he came. You see? But people sometimes believe that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started a new religion. No. Excuse me. And so then the people, they start thinking that God is my order supplier. We have a big shopping list and we present it in front of the Lord and say, I want this, 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 and this. He is not our order supplier. Many times we have heard where people go to the temple and they'll put one coconut and 1 rupee 25 paisa or something, or $1.25, and pray to the Lord. Here is the coconut for you. Here is $1.25 for you. Please make sure my child passes the exam. Please make sure, my son gets a nice girl to marry. And please do this. And please, this is business with the Lord. He is not our order supplier. But Krishna is so kind, he says, okay, if you want money, come to me. Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukriti no Arjuna. He says, okay, if you are distressed, you want money, come to me, I will give it to you. But important thing to remember, he's not our order supplier. We worship Krishna so that we can develop love for him, attain his love. That is the purpose of devotional service. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he just wanted to distribute love of Krishna. No restrictions, no discrimination, just wanting to help us in this age of Kali Yuga to love Krishna. Once we start learning to love Krishna, then we will be coming to a stage of pure devotional service. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as I said, did not discriminate. He gave it to everybody. His mission was to enhance love of Krishna. And that is the highest achievement of human form of life, to attain love of Krishna. Human form of life is not meant for eat, sleep, and be merry. Human life is not meant for just making money or, getting this or that, trying to get some assets or some things in life. That is not the purpose of human form of life. Human form of life, which has philosophical intelligence, is to use that philosophical intelligence to understand the highest goal of human life, and that is to attain love of Krishna. And the process is given to us by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's given by Srila Prabhupada in his books. Everything is there. It's given to us on a platter. All we have to do is just accept it. But important point is, what is the requirement to accept it? This process is not for anybody. In other words, yes, it is for everybody, but it's not just for anybody in the sense there is a requirement. We have to qualify ourselves to follow this process of Krishna consciousness. And what is the requirement? The first requirement, Prabhupada says, is to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then the second step is to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That is the process. Then when we start following, hearing Bhagavad Gita, reading Bhagavad Gita, trying to understand, chanting, understanding the position of Krishna as the Supreme Lord, then gradually we will come to the level of trying to love Krishna. And thanks to Srila Prabhupada that he gave us this process. Thanks to Krishna who came down as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the acharyas like Rupa Goswami are giving us instructions that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's why, is most magnanimous, because he gave us this easy process of how to love Krishna. And only God, only Krishna, only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they can broadcast devotional service. This is a point mentioned by Srila Prabhupada. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Still recovering. I'm sorry. So, man cannot invent religion. Religion is not man-made. It's given to us by the Supreme Lord himself. You see? So, when Krishna, he told us in the Bhagavad Gita, surrender unto me. What does it mean? Surrender is such a heavy word, and people in general don't like to surrender. Surrender means giving up controllership, that I'm no longer a controller and the Supreme Lord is the controller. So surrender practically means learning to love Krishna, taking on the knowledge, chanting Hare Krishna, reading Srila Prabhupada's books, associating with devotees, all this, following all this process of Krishna consciousness, then that will make us come to a stage where we will actually understand the position of Krishna. If we don't understand who is Krishna, how will we love him? For instance, if my parents tell me, okay, you're going to get married to so and so, this is the boy we have searched for you, and you're going to get married to him. Now, for me to love that boy as a husband, I need to know about that boy, right? What is his name? Where does he live? What does he do? What is his family, etc., etc. So for us to love Krishna, we need to know who he is. His name is Krishna. Where does he live? In Goloka Vrindavan. What is his telephone number to contact him? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. That's how we understand. Once we understand, then we'll say, oh, this is Krishna. Then we will develop love for him. Important to understand, he is the Supreme Lord. He is the enjoyer. He is the controller. He is the super soul in the heart. He is the sanctioner. He is the witness within the heart. And all this we have already learned from Bhagavad Gita. So you see, this process given to us by Srila Prabhupada, which is Krishna consciousness, is not blind faith, or it is not just dry philosophy. No. It is based on knowledge from the scriptures, from the Vedas. And we as devotees have been guided by Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual master. So we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he descended to the earthly planet, he came to teach us how to dovetail all our activities to Krishna. And he showed that by his own example. How? By coming as a devotee. He took the sentiment of a devotee. He came down to show us how to be a devotee. But the important point to understand is we cannot reach that stage of pure love of Krishna by our own endeavors. You see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by example, he showed us that we need to approach a bona fide spiritual master. Yes, once we approach a bona fide spiritual master, then it becomes easy to approach the Lord. Why? Because we get training and guidance. Excuse me. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about Swarup Damodar, a very close associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was with him all the time and who was documenting all the activities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he describes that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself with the attitude of Srimati Radharani, combination of Radha and Krishna. And Krishna, he came down as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he wanted to taste his own sweetness. You see, whatever Radharani is tasting in love of Krishna, he wanted to taste that nectar. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not come as an enjoyer, as the Supreme Lord, but as the enjoyed. He came as devotee of Krishna to teach us how to become a devotee of Krishna. Very important. If we don't take on bona fide knowledge, we will not be able to understand. If we don't follow the bona fide parampara, it will be very difficult to understand. Otherwise, what will happen? We will start concocting based on our own whims and fancies. Whatever I think, whatever I believe, whatever is my opinion, we'll go by that. And we know we are imperfect beings. We have imperfect senses. We have tendency to cheat. We make mistakes and we are in illusion. So if we are defective, how can we, on our own, come up with some philosophy? That's not possible. You see? And if there are concoctions, then Prabhupada says there will be disturbance, not only to others, but even to other devotees. Concoctions, of unauthorized persons, those who are not in the parampara, who are pretending to be bona fide, but they have not been accepted. You see, you have to be, like Krishna says, evam parampara praptam imam rajashiyo vidu. Chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita. This is how we have to receive the Vedic knowledge in parampara. So these verses, they are teaching us the importance of performing devotional service, the importance of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and distributing it to others. Now that we've got this treasure house of chanting, why not share it with others, preach to others? And we have seen in 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, one who gives my knowledge to others is most dear to me. So preaching is very dear to Krishna. So in these verses today from 36 to 41, we understood that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, the purpose of him descending to this earthly planet was to distribute love of Krishna. And we are very, very fortunate that we are part of this Krishna consciousness movement. So now that we are fortunate, we should take full advantage of this opportunity and not waste it with casual bhakti, whenever I have time, I will chant, or whenever I feel like I will associate with devotees. No. Prabhupada says bhakti is not casual at all. Need to become more serious on the spiritual path. Not everybody gets this opportunity. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Bahunam janmanam ante jnanvam ma prapadete Vasudeva sarvati sa Mahatma sudurlabha. That Mahatma, that great soul is very rare. Sudurlabha, very rare. After many, many births, one who gets the opportunity then that person understands Vasudev Krishna is all in all. So now that we have this opportunity of these bona fide scriptures, bona fide spiritual master, bona fide devotees, bona fide temples, we have everything. So we need to become more serious. And the foundation of our bhakti is chanting the holy names of the Lord. And our progress towards Krishna Prema depends on quality of our chanting. What is the quality? Are we attentive while chanting? Are we hearing what we are chanting? Are we chanting very clearly? Or is it like a fast express train? How are we chanting? Are we chanting with the intention of finishing my rounds? So all this is very, very important. So verse number 41 again. In this way, assuming the sentiment of a devotee, he preached devotional service while practicing it himself. So I'll end here. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mother Gita, for such a very sweet, very, very sweet, powerful class. Amazing, amazing verses. Thank you so much. Especially the last verse that that had the purport. I had to go back and read it again. It was really, really sweet. Would like to ask devotees if any questions, any comments, clarifications, please do unmute yourself. Yes, go ahead, Priksha.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances.
Please accept mine.
All glory to Srila Prabhupada. It's a wonderful takeaway that I have from your lecture. Now we know the transcendental telephone number for Krishna. It's not made of regular numbers. It's transcendental. So it's Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then we have Radha and Krishna, just
and
like
it's
that.
free. And it's free. No, you don't
It's
get
free.
an international call bill. No,
Not at all. Instant connection.
Yeah.
Thank you. And the last, yes, as we spent so much time on the last, the purpose for the last text 41. And I'd never heard of this, as Srila Prabhupada described, the Nadia Nagaris and the Gora Nagaris, who put Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the position he didn't want to be in. He wanted to be a devotee, and they were trying to put him as a supreme personality of God and serve him the way he serves Krishna. But that's not what he wanted. So that's the first time that I've heard, and it's actually stuck with me. Nadia Nagaris and Gora Nagaris. Pretend. Anyway, those are the two things that I wanted to talk about now. For now, Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
That was a very nice verse to my mother. Yeah, and as you were speaking of how much Lord Chaitanya didn't want to be regarded as Krishna or as a supreme Lord, he just wanted to be the servant. His mission was to come and spread the holy name.
Yes.
I was realizing how much, we are so fallen that sometimes we want to be adored at a certain way, looked upon at a certain way, remembered as a certain way, but Lord Chaitanya was not that. He just came to give the holy name.
Yes.
And we have, and as you're speaking, I was just really remembering, when in 2018, when Anuttama Prabhu told me, in the next few years, Anusuya get Gonatai deities, and couple of devotees, few devotees said, oh, why not Radha Krishna? Why not Radha Krishna? And Anandama Prabhu said, no, we need the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And just hearing, and since then, I've seen so many wondrous things happening, good and not so good after the appearance, but it's all a learning lesson. But from this morning's class, Mother, I can really see why Anandama Prabhu said to bring Gonatai deities. It's so powerful.
Even my spiritual master always guides the disciples to get Gaurnitai at home.
Yeah.
Because Radha Krishna service is very high level.
Very high, and we got to keep up, and they don't take offenses,
Yes.
Gunatai is so much. And also, as you said, Mama, that they don't want to be the enjoyer, and that is the mood. that I think as devotees, we should be practicing that same mood, you
Yes,
know,
yes.
not, we shouldn't be enjoyed, you know. That was powerful. Mother, and this, I have actually, Wes, you were speaking about, you know, the $1.25. I said, oh, because there is one person in our temple that comes every now and then, and he always puts $1.25, and I never understood why till this
That is very
very
common.
day.
Very common. It's called Sawa Rupiah, you know, it's called Sawa Rupiah, like 1 rupee 25 paisa. Sawa Rupiah, yes.
I never knew why the 25 cents should be there. Now you told me this. Thank you, mother. That, I was like, oh, no, it explains everything. I had no idea why.
Yeah.
And in fact, in our Hundi, all the quarters are from him, actually. We have so much.
I was gonna say that. You took it right out of my mouth because I'm the one that collects the Hyundai
All the
Lakshmi. And
quarters.
all of these quarters are in there and I never knew why. I
Yeah.
That's
didn't.
I
And
never knew
I
why.
don't know,
Now I
maybe
know.
it's considered to be auspicious or it's an auspicious Sawa Rupiah. I don't know what it is, but I remember coconut and $1.25. Yes. What's the value of that? You know, giving Krishna $1.25. I mean, he doesn't need anything, but just the intention, right?
You know, mother, that's why it's so nice that we came with that. Krishna consciousness is so simple. There's no nitty-gritty of all this stuff. So
Right.
much more easy. Absolutely. Mother, can you speak more on the qualification of one to take up the process? You mentioned accepting the Lord as a spirit, you know, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and taking up the chanting of the holy name. But with that, mother, does it just stop there, or is there more? Because I'm thinking you know, in order to qualify as, for example, like in order for us to qualify to go into med school, for example, there are some things we have to do and some things we have to give up,
Mhm.
right? So does that also apply in Krishna consciousness, and in what ways?
Yes, there is a step-by-step process, and it depends on individuals. It's not the same formula for everybody because the family situation may be different, right? Health-wise, you know, it could be anything. So it's a special prescription for each individual. But the basic is that first of all, one should have Shraddha. That basic faith is required. Yes, there is God, but I don't know who is God, you know, that inquisitive nature needs to be there. And then that would lead one to a bona fide source where you can get more knowledge, like Ado Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangha. So we associate with like-minded people, spiritually minded people, and then we learn from them. And while learning, we need to be aware that I know it all. That attitude should not be there. I know it all, you know, that should not be there. Because if we approach with that intention, then we will not be able to take on knowledge because we'll always think, I know it all. So when we do sadhu sangha, we learn the process from them, like bhajana kriya, that okay, first is you chant. Once they start chanting and come to a certain level, then the shiksha guru, as we call, you know, one who is guiding them, they go to the next step of following the four regulative principles, right? I mean, first time when we meet somebody, we don't just say start following regulative principles because then they would just run away, you know, like, no, 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 it's not a good idea. So then following the rules and regulations, reading and hearing. So gradually, step by step, depending on the situation of individual, depending on the level of progress of each individual, that Shiksha Guru can guide, you know, and then the person can start progressing on the spiritual path. So it's different for each, like they say, you know, different shlok for different folk, you know, so it's different. It's just a matter of understanding and then guiding the person on this path.
Thank you, mother. Thank you for clarifying that point. Thank you. Any other questions from devotees that you would like to ask to get clarified, please do. This is a very deep, deep verse. I also would, yes, Krishna Smarana Prabhu, please go ahead, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Mataji, you said Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not enjoyer, but he is enjoyed. But isn't the reason he came is to understand the love of Radharani and enjoy it? So if you say he is enjoyed, who is enjoying him?
Yes, so that's a very valid point that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with the mood of Radharani. And Radharani is the enjoyed, as we see. She, loves Krishna and she enjoys. So he came in that sentiment. So he is not the enjoyer. He didn't come that, okay, I am Krishna, so I am now going to see how Radharani enjoys me. No. His intention was to be enjoyed, which means he wanted to worship and love Krishna. Like we have seen that he would, sometimes just hearing the chanting, the holy names of Krishna, he would, faint, or he would, fall in the ocean, and so his, even though he wanted to taste the nectar of Krishna prema, but he came as a devotee, so he took the position of being enjoyed, not the enjoyer, Krishna himself. So he wasn't, you cannot say that, he was enjoying in the sense like Krishna himself. No. His mood was just to feel that, taste that nectar that Radharani tastes when she worships Krishna, or when she is in love with Krishna, not when always she is in love of Krishna. So that's the mood in which he came. So he wasn't enjoying in that sense. Does that make sense, Krishna Sharanam?
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
All glories to Prabhupada.
That was a very good question, Prabhu. Thank you for asking, and thank you for the answer. Because Mother, the word enjoyer, enjoyed, enjoying is very catch-22. So thank you. So even though the devotees of the Lord were doing activities that Lord Chaitanya was being enjoyed, but his mood was not that. His mood was he wanted to feel what Radharani was actually feeling for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That was amazing. That was nice. Thank you, Mother, for really making it crystal clear. Thank you.
Also, we get the pleasure. Like, for instance, today I want to eat pizza. So I offer it to the Lord. He's enjoying it. But then in return, I'm also enjoying it in a sense. But I know Krishna is the enjoyer. See? I am tasting that pizza, which is prasadam, but I am not the enjoyer. Does that make sense?
Yes, Mother. Yes. Yes. In fact, I was just reading a quote right before class from Chandramouli Swami about the same thing. Taking remnants from saintly persons and pure devotees, it has to be first offered to the Lord. Yes, because then there's a sweetness in it. Yes, yes. Thank you, Mother. Thank you. Any other questions from devotees? This is a very nice class. Please, go ahead.
Each step on humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I was going to talk about something else, but when you talked about the offering of the burger to the Lord, and then after, you were enjoying it too, it reminded me of one of the purports in Srila Prabhupada in actually the very first text of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text 1. And he says, Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, and we are subordinate enjoyers. He still put the word there for us. So when the book is offered and the Lord enjoys, then we have the remnants. We also enjoy the remnants, but we're having the remnants, not the first that when the offering, what's offered to Krishna first. We don't eat right away, but it's still wonderful prasad, mercy of the Lord. And so, yeah, we actually also partake, and we are subordinate. So, see, Papa uses the word subordinate, so we understand our position. Like that. And then one more thing, this is from listening to some lectures that are given to us in bites. And there's a group that's doing that now. And it just blew my mind when Srila Prabhupada explained this wonderful thing about it. And I want to just, if you know, with your permission, add this to it. That the love the Lord Chaitanya came to give is at the level of the love of the gopis in Vrindavan for Krishna. That's how much, and they are the topmost.
Yeah.
That is the love the Lord Chaitanya has come to give. So if we do the right thing, boy, and connect with this love, then it means it will just be an ocean of love that will be immersed in it because they are the topmost. And that's what Lord Chaitanya came to give. So when I heard that from Srila Prabhupada, it crystallized my mind and says, if I'm doing Namabas and so many things, I'm just I'm only myself to blame because there's so much love that's there for Krishna that Lord Chaitanya has given for us to tap into. So yeah, and I said, all right, I have to be very, very attentive now in chanting Hare Krishna. So I just wanted to put that out. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. And I was thinking when you were talking about prasadam, that is why when we partake prasadam, we don't say we are enjoying, we say we are honoring it, right? We are honoring the prasadam because we know our position. We are not the enjoyers, we are the enjoyed. So we are tasting the prasadam, but we are tasting Krishna, honoring it.
That's a very, yes, mother. I've always heard that word being used since, for 30 years, like honor is very, it really changes the consciousness and the thinking and the mentality. In fact, another point, mother, that one Mataji told me in Gita Nagari, proper disciple, Mother Kalini, she said she left her body in 2015, I think, or something like that. She would always make sure that when devotees honor prasadam, they are sitting and not standing. And I remember one time in the 90s, I was standing and eating, and she said, Anusuya, sit down and eat. And I didn't know why she was so heavy with it. And then she said to me, when you stand and eat, and when you stand and honor prasadam, Yamaraj is looking over your shoulders, what she was saying. Since then, mother, I was, you say Yamaraj, I'm going to run away. I always, yes, and I always tell that to devotees. I always said, sit down and eat, sit down and eat, sit down and eat. And till today, if I see anybody standing, I'll say, sit down and eat.
Yes, actually, Ayurveda is part of Vedas, and they also, practice just like we practice in Krishna consciousness. How they also mention that, when we are preparing the mood, the consciousness is very important when preparing the food because that affects the health of our body also. Preparing it in the right mood, offering it in the right mood, and also it is mentioned in Ayurveda that we should sit down and we should, concentrate on the prasadam, like honor it in the sense, no talking, chit chatting, or no, all these things when we follow, then it affects our health also. See, it's there in Ayurveda that we need to be, and Srila Prabhupada, what did he do? He did not talk to anybody. He did not eat in front of anybody. He was all by himself. He would be sitting and his full concentration would be on prasadam, and he will eat with so much relish, like he's, in touch with Krishna. He is like in that mood that prasadam is non-different from Krishna, and he would, finish everything that is there on his plate, eat all that prasadam. So prasadam is very, very powerful. We got to be very careful. Yes. So that is not enjoying, but honoring, being enjoyed.
Thank you, Mataji, for bringing this up. Because as you were talking, I remember seeing a video of Srila Prabhupada taking prasadam. And it is exactly the way you described it, boy. If you could see it, it's on YouTube. I don't know. This is some of the remembering Srila Prabhupada videos, I think. But this is one part where Shritakirti Prabhu was with him and he brought the prasadam to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada just finished his Gayatri and then he started to eat. And yes, it is a whole, it's like an artwork, literally, of how he takes the prashadam. It
Yes.
is, it's almost like another pujari doing some work on the altar, even though he's just honoring the prashadam. Yeah, there was his mood. It's the video really brings it out. You can see it. You can see the mood of Srila Prabhupada.
I
Yeah,
think the
thank
one
you.
you saw probably is where he's sitting in a corner and eating.
Yes, he's in the corner.
There's a wall in front and he's sitting right there in the corner.
Yes, mother, he's facing the wall, but you could see that he was really taking his time, one
Yeah.
bowl to the next bowl to the next bowl. I think that was a 15, 18-minute long video. It wasn't a short one. It was pretty long, and he was facing, yes, he was really relishing each prep. Yeah, absolutely.
The way he takes it, the way he chews, and all of that. Because the video makes it so vivid. To this person who's not just eating in any kind of mode, but he is really relishing. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada teaches us in so many ways. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
He does. Thank you so much. Any other questions from devotees? Please do jump right in and raise your hand if you have any questions. And if you don't, thank you, Mother Gita, for such a beautiful class. Very sweet and really, really deep. And we thank all the devotees for joining us. Vanchakraptibhyascha, Kripasindabevacha, Patitanam Papavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Have a wonderful day. Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you, Mataji, for the class and all the quotations from Bhagavad Gita. It is so seamless when you do that. I love it. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you, Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.